Good morning, all. Can we
Morning.
start the class, or there are some people to come in? Okay, we will wait for a few more minutes. If not, then we will start. Okay. Oh, okay. So those students are in Alustra, right? So that means, like, can we start the class? Okay, so today we will see about orthotic devices. So yesterday we saw what is rehabilitation and who are there in the team of rehabilitation and what are their roles. So if you see rehabilitation means it is all together. That means like if a person is you need to that means like you need to teach them exercises, you need to teach them, you need to give them any additional aids which will be helping them to maintain their function, and you need to modify their lifestyle with modifying the environment as well as the modifying the household things. So that all those will come under the rehabilitation. Okay. So rehabilitation is little different compared to what you do in the hospital. So in the hospital, what you do, you when a patient is coming, you assess them. Then according to that, you will be giving them exercises and you will be sending them home. But this rehabilitation is you need to make them fit to do their functions as much as possible in the society, in the house, and in the office. Okay, so that is your that is called rehabilitation. So rehabilitating the person to his near normal level. Okay, so here not only your exercises and other techniques will play. Along with that, you have to also know more about the devices that you can give them, so that you can make them to live their near normal life. Okay, so that's why in this particular subject, you will be reading more about orthotic devices, processes devices, then you will also learn about the environmental modifications that you can do, then the lifestyle changes along with the disability evaluation. Is that clear? So in today's class, you will be learning about orthosis. That is what is orthosis. Then you will be learning about spinal orthosis. So you also have to learn about upper limb and lower limb orthosis. So I hope you understand this picture. So he is a trucker with artificial limb. Okay, so this is his artificial limb. So first, like what is orthosis? So orthosis is a mechanical device that is fitted to a body to maintain the anatomical or functional position. So if you want to maintain anatomical position, you can use any additional devices that will help them to maintain the posture to prevent any, this will help them to prevent any deformity, to give them support, to give them alignment, and that will help them to do their function, and that will help them to modify their structure. Okay, so this orthosis is not only given to prevent the deformity, it is also given to modify their deformity and modify the structure and make it fit to do the functional activity. Okay, so you have two roles here. You will be preventing the deformity, then you will be modifying or you will be correcting the deformity and making the particular structure fit for the functional activity. Okay, so that is the main purpose of this orthosis. So this normally is given for any weakened body part, or this is also given for any other anatomical deformed structure. So this is a Greek term which means to make it straight, to make it upright, or to correct it. So this is not a very like this is not a latest technology. It is a very old one which is used from 3000 370 BC. That is before Christ they have started to use this. For whom they have used means for mummies they have used it. So that means like for dead bodies, to make the dead body straight or to maintain the anatomical structure of a dead body, they have used this particular concept. So this is not a new concept, but we have a lot of new advanced equipments or advanced techniques in this orthosis. But the concept is very old one, which our ancestors were using in to maintain the dead body. They will be using this particular thing. Maybe they have used cloths or they have used some other materials, but now we are using it for different purpose. Then after that, if you see, like they started to use this orthosis for a normal human being or for people who are alive in AD 131 to 201. So from that, that is after death of Christ, also they have started to use for normal person. Normal person means like us, like who are alive. So after that, like it has been used for many other purposes. So we will first see what are the indications of this orthosis. Then we will see the contraindication and other. So indication, basically there are 4 or 5 indication, that is to relieve pain. So if you have pain, whenever you are moving any joint, if you have pain, then you can give this orthosis to prevent the movement and to reduce pain. Okay, then to limit movement. So after surgery, if they feel that we need to give them rest to increase the healing process, then also we can use this particular then also we can use this particular devices. So after surgery or after any injury or after any fracture or after anything, if you feel that the movement will cause a problem and you want to give rest so that you increase the healing process, then you can use this orthosis. Then if you want to correct any deformity, then also you can use this orthosis. Then if you want to relieve any disease, then also you can use this orthosis. Okay, so other than that, if you want to improve the function or movement, so if you feel if you support certain joint, the other joint will be able to function properly. If you support certain muscle, the other part of the muscle will be able to work properly. Then you will be using this orthosis. This orthosis can be used to reduce the muscle tone, to protect against any injury, then to provide bio like proprioceptive feedback. That means if a person doesn't have joint position sense, so if you want to increase the joint position sense, then you can use this, because normally when you want to increase the sensation, we use a tactile thing called touch. So we just tap on the particular joint, we hold the particular joint so that the contact will increase the joint position sense. So for that, we can use this particular orthosis. Then to provide rest, if you want to reduce any weight bearing, so there is a fracture and you want to reduce the weight bearing, then you can use this particular orthosis. Then this also will be used to improve any function, then you can use this orthosis. So if you see here in the indications, all the conditions will come under, that is neurological problem. Patients with neurological problem, you can use orthosis. Patients with orthopedic problem also, you can use this, like fracture, dislocation, or any pain, joint swelling, then also you can use this orthosis. So for almost all the condition, you will be able to use this orthosis. So what are the contraindication? So contraindications, again, the contraindications will be vary according to the orthosis you are using, but still these are the general contraindications. So general contraindications, if you feel the patient have very poor cognitive and muscle weakness, then uh, you cannot use this, because cognitive function, the patient may not be able to know why we are using it. So the patient may not be able to understand the concept of it, and because of lack of understanding, it may end up in different aspect. For example, if you are giving a lesser, like if you are giving a patient a cervical collar, and the person doesn't understand the need of it, and if he tightens the cervical collar too much, then he may die. So that's why it is contraindicated for people who are having poor cognitive. And sometimes very less muscle power also, we will not be able to use this. Then if they have any circulatory disease, that means vascular problem, if you feel the orthosis will compress the vascularity and reduce the circulation further, then you cannot use it. If the skin is very fragile, then you cannot use it, because when you use it, it may rub the skin and it may lead to breaking of the skin. So you cannot use it. Then if they have any active skin infection, then you cannot use it. Then if you feel there is any sensory disturbance, then the patient may not be able to feel the pressure of the orthosis, and later it may end up in some other problem. So when they don't feel it, if the orthosis is compressing also, they will not know it, and this will lead to problem like breaking of the skin, or it may compress the muscle, it may injure the muscle, all those things. So then you should not give. And if the person has edema, if you apply this orthosis, it may further tighten the area, and it may rupture the area. So you should not use it. Over open wounds, unstable fracture, and psychological disturbance, like we cannot use this orthosis. Okay, so these are some generalized contraindication, but according to the orthosis you are using, there will be a specific contraindication and indication. So when you are going to use it, you have to check that specific indication and contraindications rather than general one. Then what are the uses of this orthosis? So this orthosis will definitely help you to reduce pain and inflammation, because when you give rest, automatically the pain will subside. When you give rest, automatically the inflammatory reaction will speeden up and it will get healed faster. So in that way, you will be able to reduce the inflammation. Then it will distribute the pressure evenly and it will relieve the unwanted pressure. So for example, a person is having any calcaneal spur. So if you are wearing a normal shoes for her, for him, it may be rubbing the spur and it may increase the problem. So for them, you can give a small orthotic device that will help them to reduce the pressure. Okay, so if you want to restrict any movement and if you want to give assistance in any movement, then also you can use this orthosis. It helps you to improve the posture, to correct the deformity, to prevent the contracture, then to protect any against any joint instability, to improve the muscle tone. Sometimes to improve the muscle tone, sometimes to reduce the muscle tone also you can use it. Then to minimize post-operative complication. So post-operatively, you need to give the particular body segment some rest. Then only it will increase the healing process. But during rest, because of rest, there may be some complications. So to minimize or to balance both the things, you can give this orthosis. So this orthosis will help you to give the rest as well as it will help you to increase the movement in the other joints except that area. Then you can reduce the complication, or you can minimize the post-operative complication. So this will give them a good, this will aid them during fractures, uh, or immediately after fracture. If you make them to walk, it may disturb the fracture healing. So I think you know what is fracture healing. So normally a fracture healing will take more than a year to get healed. So maybe you can take a fracture of lower limb. So when you have a fracture of lower limb, they will be keeping the particular fracture uh, in the cast for nearly 8 weeks. That means like for 2 months. But I hope you know in your musculoskeletal you would have read this. But after this 2 months, the particular bone will take at least 1 year to become stronger and to become like previous, like a normal bone. Okay, so but during this 1 year, remaining first 2 months, you will be putting the joint in a cast. Then remaining 8 months or remaining 10 months, you will be slowly giving them the weight bearing. So for that particular purpose, this orthosis will help you, because first 2 months it is given completely rest so that the callus will start to form. Then after that, slowly you will be increasing the weight little by little so that the weight bearing enhances the callus formation and make it stronger. Okay, so for those people, this orthosis is like a bone. Then it will assist in healing of ligament and bones. It will help you to avoid certain movement, and it will help you to remind certain movement. Okay. Then what are the limitations of this orthosis? So limitations means what it cannot do, or in which condition it will not be able to, or because of the using this orthosis, what are the other problems other problems you may get. So one is psychological and physical dependency on the particular orthosis. This orthosis, definitely you cannot use it for lifelong, but except for certain conditions. For certain conditions, you may use it for lifelong, because but for certain conditions, you need to use only to a particular period, or to a particular time, or to a certain period where like till it is getting healed or till it is improving. So minimum, like if you see the orthosis or any orthosis can be used for 6 to 8 weeks. If you use more than that, then it will end up in muscle wasting. Then it will reduce your it will increase your dependency on it. Okay, so that is a normal time period. So some people, when they start to use this, then slowly they will be completely depending on that. Then they will feel without that they will not be able to do the movement at all. So this is called dependency. So this can be a psychological factor, or this can be a physical factor also. Okay. Then next is any discomfort and local pain. So any discomfort and local pain means like sometimes because of orthosis also you may have this local pain and discomfort. Then it may rub the skin and it may cause skin breakdown. It may, if you are not putting it properly, or when the patient is not trained to put properly, this may compress the nerve, and this may cause other problem. When you are using for long time, this will lead to muscle atrophy. Then it will lead to weakness of opposite muscle group, because when you put the orthosis, there won't be any movement. So in that case, the opposite muscle, normal muscle also will be in rest. So this will lead to weakness of the opposite muscle group. Then sometimes this will be maintaining the particular body segment in one direction. So the other direction will undergo elongation, and that will undergo muscle weakness. Okay, then it may increase the segmental movement at the end of the orthosis. For example, if you're giving orthosis to support your shoulder and elbow, Then the wrist, there may be more movement in the wrist. Okay, so that is called like end movement, increase in the movement in the end of the orthosis. Then movement is usually limited or restricted in certain direction. So this also later it will lead to problem. The device will be exposed to wear and tear, and if they don't maintain it properly, that may end up in some problem. And sometimes people will not be able to afford for maintaining the particular device and for maintaining for particular period. That also it will lead to some problem. Then sometimes they may find difficult to transfer, difficult to wear it and move in a particular thing. Like for example, if you are carrying this orthosis, if it is very heavy, whenever you go in flight and other things, you will be having problem. Then it may have some poor patient compliance. So all these limitations may not be affecting all the patient, but some patients may be affected due to this particular reason. So what are the general principles of this orthosis? So general principles is, first is how it is using. So this is like it is using the forces to do the movement or limit the movement. Okay, so we will see later how these forces are acting, but basically this will be using forces to maintain or to increase the movement, okay, or to restrict the movement. So this orthosis is based on using certain forces. So this force can be given in one direction, or sometimes by using a spring material, or by using any other elastic material, it will be used in both the direction. Then next is like regarding the sensation. Since this orthotic devices is covering the skin area, sometimes the sensory feedback will be affected. Okay, so for example, you can just imagine if you are wearing a tight dress for very longer time, then when you remove the dress also, you will feel as if something is over your body, isn't it? So that kind of sensation will be given by this orthosis. Okay. So because of this, you need to remove the orthosis on and off, and you have to stimulate the proprioceptive sensation. So that means whenever you are giving orthosis to a patient, you need to also check the sensation, and you have to train or retrain the sensation so that it doesn't affect it. It doesn't get affected. Then in case if it is correcting, like this will be used to correct a mobile deformity also. Mobile deformity means a flexible deformity also can be corrected by this orthotic devices, and this also will be helping you to correct a fixed deformity. Okay, so that means if there is a contracture, you can use this orthosis to correct it. If there is a if there is a tightness and that tightness is keep on increasing, then also you can use this orthosis to correct it. Is that clear? Then adjustability is like you can accommodate, you can adjust this orthosis to either adult or children. So it can be adjusted according to the size and shape of the body as well as growth of the body. Okay, sometimes what will happen when you are using this orthosis for children, uh, you need to see how it is getting adjusted to the growth of the children, and according to that, you have to teach the patient to teach the parents to increase or decrease the velcro straps and other things. Otherwise, it will restrict the children's growth. Okay, so this orthosis is definitely adjustable, but you need to teach the patients or parents or caregivers to uh, adjust according to the growth of the children as well as adjust according to the patient's need. Okay, sometimes they may need to change the orthosis also when the children are keep on growing. So this will cause them a cost effective problem. because like as the children grows, then you need to keep on changing the orthosis also sometimes. Then the maintenance should be like definitely there is a maintenance for orthosis. So you need to teach the particular persons how to maintain the orthosis. They should keep it very clean, and they have to maintain it, otherwise it will go off very fast, because in orthosis they will be using a lot of leather materials, lot of sponge materials and other things. So leathers will get worn off, so you need to clean the leather properly, so that because of the environment or because of the air, the leather doesn't get spoiled. This is one thing. Another thing, this orthosis will have lot of joints, or it will be having lot of screws and other things. So you need to maintain, you need to tighten the screws properly so that it doesn't fall off. Sometimes it may need some oiling also to maintain and to clean it. So to prevent rust and other thing, you need to oil the orthosis. So all these things as a physio, you need to teach them when you are training them using the orthosis. Then, so definitely gravity will be playing a major role in all the human body. So if you see our body, the gravity is only the main force that will be acting. So you need to see to that when you are wearing the orthosis, how you will be able to prevent the gravity's force, because when you prevent the gravity's force itself, you will be able to prevent certain deformities. For example, if a person is hemiplegic, then you have to prevent foot drop deformity, because because of gravity, whenever the patient is sitting down, he will be having foot drop deformity, isn't it? Okay, then if the person is having like hemiplegia, then the shoulder will be dislocated because of the gravitational pull. So you need to keep this in mind, and you have to give orthosis to prevent this gravitational role also. Okay, so especially for neurological patient, you need to think about this, and you have to give them the thing. That means the neurological patient may not have deformity, but you have to keep the gravitational role in mind, and you have to give the orthosis so that you will be able to prevent the deformity. Like giving a foot drop splint for hemiplegic patient, giving a shoulder cuff for hemiplegic patient. Okay. Next is you need to see the comfort. Sometimes it may not be comfortable because it will be correcting the deformity. So in that case, it may not be giving the maximum comfortability. So you have to see how you are able to give them the comfort. It should be correcting the deformity, as well as it should not be too much discomfort for the patient to wear it. Then you have to think about the cosmetic uh, issues also. Many patients will try to avoid using this because of the cosmetic purpose. But nowadays in the market, we have got n number of products which is very cosmetically designed. So you have to prefer according to the age. For a 90-year-old person, you may not be so keen about cosmetic, but for 20 years or 30 years girls, you need to think about the cosmetic purpose. So according to the cosmetic purpose, you have to use it. But now we have a lot of products in market. Then what is the utility? So utility is like you need to know what is the real purpose of the particular orthosis, and you have to compare how this orthosis is going to help the particular person. So you have to see that, and then only you have to try to use this. Okay, so if they are not that much useful, or if the usage is very less compared to limitation, then don't use it. So according to the usage only you have to prescribe, and according to the usage only you have to make the person to wear. Just for a simple reason, or if they have only one advantage and if they have some 5 to 6 disadvantages, then it's better to overthrow the advantage and not to use the orthosis. Is that clear? Then appropriateness. So you need to see to that whether the orthosis is very much appropriate to the particular person. So that means Nowadays we have got lot of customized orthoses. So sometimes there will be like orthosis that is sold in the market. But when you are prescribing that, the size may be fitting them, but sometimes it may, because of their body structure and the body height and other things, it may be little bit bigger, or it may be like you need too much adjustment. So in that case, you can go for a tailor-made orthosis, so that it is perfectly suiting that particular person. So orthosis need to be appropriate to the need. So if it is too big or too small, with a Velcro, with a lot of Velcro straps you are adjusting, then it won't be that much useful. Then the duration of usage. So you need to use only for the period it is indicated. If they overuse, definitely they are going to end up in some other problem. So if it is needed only for 1 week, then prescribe only for 1 week. Strictly, you have to say them that they should not use the orthosis longer than that. So what these people will do is, they will not know what is the use of the particular orthosis. Then maybe for back pain they have come to you, so you have checked them and you have given them the lumbosacral belt. Then after going back, they will forget to do the exercises. Then whenever they get the pain, they will be start to use this belt alone without doing any exercises. So this will slowly reduce the muscle power, and the back pain will be persistent for very longer time. Then the patient will think, okay, I have to use the belt for longer time, and throughout the day the patient will be using the belt whenever they are doing. So you have to strictly tell them what is the use of this belt, and along with the belt, what are the other things they have to do and when they have to stop using it. So since it is there with them, they should not use it whenever they want it, or they should not use it lifelong. Okay, so these are the general principles or general considerations you have to uh, do, or you have to see when you are giving this orthosis. Then what are the characteristics the orthosis should have, or when you can say this is a good orthosis? So the first thing, it should not be too heavy. Okay, so if the orthosis is too heavy, then the patient needs to put extra effort, and the patient needs to put uh, uh, extra force to lift the orthosis. So it should be like, the weight should be very very less or weightless. Then nowadays you get a lot of orthosis in a very lesser weight. They started to use a very simple fiber material, so that the weight is very much reduced. But in previous time, in olden times, you will be having a very heavy materials and very heavy things. So that needs an extra effort to use it or to lift it. So it should be adjustable, because if the patient is suddenly putting on little weight and suddenly reducing little weight, then it should be adjustable. You cannot buy for those simple reasons. Then it should have a functional use. Yeah, that's what, like, you should have, the usage should be more, or the advantage should be more compared to disadvantages. Then cosmetic, then cost effective, then durability. Durability means it should at least stay for a little longer time. For example, if you want to use the orthosis for 8 weeks, the particular device should be able to use at least for 10 weeks. Okay, so just for 8 weeks, you cannot buy two or three. It should not be getting worn out so easily. Then the material used should be patient friendly. It should not be injuring the patient, or it should not be creating any allergic to the patient. Then ability to fit various sizes of the patient, and it should be easily wearable. So you should easily wear, and you should be able to easily remove it, because you cannot expect any other persons to wear it for you for like every time. Okay, so it should be user friendly for the patient himself to wear it and remove it. So we need to give them the training according to that. Okay, but not all the patients will be able to do this, but some most of the patients uh, who are no, near normal will be able to do this. Okay, some patients like spinal cord injury patients, when paraplegic patients may not be able to remove and uh, use it as we need. Okay, so you need to be careful about that, and you have to give the training according to that. So if the patient is not able to do, then you have to train the caregivers how to remove. For example, if the patient is unconscious and you have given orthosis to prevent the deformity, in that case you cannot expect the patient to remove and wear it. So in that case you have to teach the attenders. Then sometimes the patient may be in different things like okay, sorry, that is our clock. Okay, so sometimes the patient may be using different equipments like the ventilator, the patient may be in tracheostomy, the patient may be in PEG tube and other things. So this orthosis should have access to all those things. Okay, then only you will be able to use it for the patient. Then it should be having access to the suture site and for wound care. So every time you cannot remove completely and clean the wounds. So it should have access for that. Then it should have good aeration so that the skin is not affected. So it should be able to maintain the skin for proper moisturization and other things. So it should have a good aeration. So nowadays we have a lot of orthosis with all these kind of characteristics. Previously, there was some issues. So where we need to give them additional paddings, additional cotton, so that it doesn't affect the patient's skin. But nowadays, like we get a good material so that we will be able to use it properly. Then, so now, like I said earlier, right, there is some force principle. So all the orthoses will be made according to this principle only. This is called as Jordan's principle or 3-point system principle. Okay. So you, whenever you are using it for a corrective purpose or assistive purpose, it will be like, it should have a it will be giving a force to maintain the posture, or it will be giving applying a force to correct 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 the particular things. So for this, it will be using three forces. That is, one will be a corrective force, another two will be a counter pressure or opposite pressure. Okay, so one is corrective pressure means, so for example, a patient is having elbow flexion deformity. That means the hand is in elbow flexion and you need to straighten the hand. So if you are giving pressure only over the wrist, and if you are pulling the forearm down, whether it will be giving you the elongation, it will not give, right? So when you want to give stretching, what you do, you support the elbow using a towel, then you support or you hold the shoulder, that is, you give a counter pressure over the shoulder or arm, and then you give the corrective pressure over the forearm to make it straight, isn't it? So if we support the elbow first, then you give the counter pressure on the shoulder or the upper arm, then you give the corrective pressure pull over the forearm, then only you will be able to correct the elbow flexion. So same like that, so you need to give one pressure over the affected or deformed point. Then you need to give two counter pressure in the opposite direction. Then only you will be able to correct the particular deformity. So I'll explain through a picture. So you can see here, So maybe the patient has a foot drop. Okay, so the patient has foot drop. So you use this particular AFO. This is called ankle foot orthosis. Okay, AFO. So here, if you see, you are wearing the AFO like a shoe. So there is two pressures. So this part is giving the corrective measure. So the foot will be dropped down like this. So there is the foot will be dropped. Sorry, the foot will be dropped down here. So you give a pressure in the ankle so that the ankle is maintained in neutral. Okay, so give a pressure here and the ankle is maintained in neutral. So to maintain this pressure, you give two counter pressure here in the opposite direction. Is that clear? So if you see here, take another example. If you want to maintain the knee in extension, so you should prevent knee flexion. In that case, what you do is you give a pressure over the knee to make it straight. Then to balance that, you have to give a pressure over the thigh and the calf. Okay, if you are only giving pressure here in front of the knee, what will happen? The knee will go for hyperextension and it will damage the capsules and the other ligaments and the muscle. So to prevent that, what you do is you give a pressure in the knee, then you balance it, counterbalance over the other two area, upper and the lower. Okay, this is same thing for correcting the lateral tilt or to correcting the uh, bowing of the legs. So when you have recurvatum like this, when the knees are like this, like a curve, then you have to correct the knee, correct the legs. Sorry, when the legs are curving like this, you have to correct it. So for that, you will be giving one pressure over the deformity area, then counter pressure over the anterior and the proximal side. So this is called 3-point principle or Jordan's principle. And we will be using this principle only in all the orthoses. So with that principle, you will be able to control the rotational force. So this is the rotational movement. Okay. This is the translatory movement. Okay. So you will be able to prevent rotational movement, translatory movement. You will be able to prevent the axial force. So here, because of the gravity, it is pulled down. So it is an axial force given. So that also you will be able to maintain. So the ground reaction force also you will be able to maintain. So with the simple 3-point principle, you are able to maintain all the external forces. And based on this only, almost all the orthoses will be working. Okay, so after this particular topic, I'll give you a break. So now what are the general functions of a orthosis? So it gives supports to the joint and it maintains the anatomical position. It helps you to do the lost function. For example, if you have foot drop, so you wear this splint, then it will help you to prevent the foot drop. Then it will also help you to prevent damage to the peroneal nerve. Then in case of wrist drop, you can give dynamic splint. Nowadays, a lot of dynamic orthoses are there so that you not only prevent it or not only support it, but also you can give like functional movement. Then this orthosis will be able to give corrections. That is like you can prevent the, correct the deformity. Then you can protect the body part during the healing process. You can prevent the extratric movements. It's called substitutional movement will be, you will be able to prevent it. Then you can give strength to certain muscles so that the other muscles are able to work. Then it can help you to relieve pain and it will be helping you to prevent weight bearing. Okay, so these are the functions or general functions of a orthosis. Then we have certain types of orthosis. So one is static orthosis, which will be providing you a rigid support. So this you are using it to give immobilization and prevent some prevent contractures or correct contractures, but it doesn't provide any movement at all. That is called static orthosis. So you can see here, this is called static cock-up splint. This is called dynamic cock-up splint. So static cock-up splint, you cannot do any finger extension movement. Okay, normally cock-up splint is given to maintain the wrist in neutral and maintain the fingers in a particular position. So this is the static cock-up splint. This is the dynamic cock-up splint. So where in this, if you see, the wrist is maintained in neutral in both the splint, but we allow some movement to the fingers so that the finger movements are not affected. Is that clear? But still, it will be able to, a dynamic splint will be helping you to maintain the position, proper position. Okay, so this is a static one where you don't have any movement. This is a dynamic one which will give you the full support, but it will help you to maintain or improve the functional movement. Then something you call it as rigid orthosis, where it will be so rigid that it corrects the deformity. Then you have something called semi-rigid orthosis. You might have used this for any knee arthroplasty injuries, where you can fix the particular axis in the joint like 10 degrees, 20 degrees. So that will allow the 10 degrees of extension or 20 degrees of extension. So that is called a semi-rigid orthosis. Then you have something called very soft orthosis, which is just given for a mild support. This will not be helping you to correct the deformity. This will be just giving you a mild support, or this will be just helping you to give awareness that you should not move further. Okay, so this kind of soft orthosis is just used to create awareness to the patient so that he doesn't move so much. So these are the types of orthosis. So duration, as I said, it is sometimes some disease needs a permanent one. Some things needs only temporary. So as a physio, we need to try to improve it as early as possible so that we don't what to say we don't uh, cause further damage to the other muscles, or we don't lead to weakness or other things. Is that clear? So we have to maximum try to restrict the usage within 12 weeks. If it is going further, it may permanently affect the muscle, ligament, or any bone. Okay, but again, it depends on the need. Some patients may need permanently, some patients will be needing temporarily. And even if you are using it permanently, you have to ask them to remove to remove some time and do certain exercises to maintain the muscle power. Otherwise, the muscle will go for wasting. Okay. Next. Okay. So we will stop here. Maybe you can take some 10 minutes break. Then we will go to the next topic. So today we will try to complete the spinal orthosis. The next class we will see about upper limb and lower limb. Okay, see, this rehabilitation subject is not a new thing. It is all from your all other musculoskeletal and neurology. Okay, so from that only we will just pick up and we will just teach you how to give the rehabilitation. Is that clear? So that's why like I'm just going a little faster because this is not a new concept for you. You would have read already in your musculoskeletal and neurology. Is that clear? If you have any doubt, you just stop me. If you don't understand or if you want further clarification or clearance, also you can stop me. So now the time is 9:05. We will start at 9:15. Are you all there? So next topic is types of orthosis. Uh, I think basically we have two different types of aids. One is orthosis, another one is prosthesis. I hope in ortho you would have learned about two. So orthosis is a device that will be helping you to uh, that is used when you have the anatomical structure. Exactly. Prosthesis is a device when you can use when you don't have the anatomical structure. Like for example, amputee patients, then you have to use prosthesis. So when you have the anatomical structure and if it is weak and if it is having some problem, then you can use orthosis. Okay, that is the main difference. I forgot to inform you at the beginning. So we will also learn about orthosis um, uh, later. Okay. So in this types, we as we know, we have orthosis for all the parts of our body. So that is a basic type. So today in our class we will try to complete spinal orthosis. If not, then we will continue in next class. So spinal orthosis means uh, just a minute. Hello, yes sir. Yeah, good morning, sir. One second, sir. I'll call you back. Uh, yes, sir. Good morning, sir. Okay, sir. Okay. Okay, sir. If they are free only, no, sir, in that timetable, then I will. Okay, sir. Then I will arrange it. Okay. Mm, okay. Okay, sir. No, sir. I have rearranged that particular class. They were having sports. I have rearranged that. Maybe students are not aware of it, but I will inform them. Uh, okay. Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Uh, Actually, like for one student, she is doing a repeat paper and she will be going for her placement. So for her alone, we thought to keep it by next week. Or you want to keep it for all together also, no problem, sir. A diploma, sir. She's diploma. Midterm, sir, for 35 marks. Hmm. Okay, okay, sir. Thank you, sir. 1 minute. I'll just inform this information to the particular batch and I'll come back. Okay, sorry. So this spinal orthosis, like as we said, it will be based on the 3 point principle. And this spinal orthosis can be used for cervical, thoracic, lumbar, and also we have for sacrum. So depending on the need, like we can choose which one we want to use it. And not only that, we can also use it for spinal deformity like scoliosis, kyphosis, and so we can also use some orthosis for all the spines, let us cervical, thoracic, lumbar, like that. Is that clear? So we'll see one by one. Before that, the general contraindication for spinal orthosis is severe deformity cannot be prevented or cannot be accommodated in orthosis. So they need to undergo a surgery for it. So sometimes we need to have a surgical correction, then only we will be able to wear the orthosis. Directly, we will not be able to wear the orthosis. Sometimes when we are correcting one particular segment, the other joints will be compressed and other joints will be limited in the movement. For example, if there is a damage in the thoracic, so if you try to correct the thoracic, the lumbar and the cervical joints may be affected. So you need to see to that. And if it is affecting like that, then you cannot wear the orthosis. Then if they have any skin infection, if they doesn't have adequate muscle power to bear the weight of the orthosis, then also you cannot use the orthosis. Then if the orthosis interferes grossly with the clothings or limits one's lifestyle, for example, since it is a spinal, we have this kind of contraindication. So for example, when they wear this orthosis, if a woman will not be able to wear her upper dress at all, then it will not, we will not be able to give them the orthosis, because the main concept of giving them the orthosis is give them the orthosis and make them to be living near normal. So with the orthosis, if they are not able to go out at all, then no point in giving the orthosis. Then if there is any lack of motivation by the patient because of the cosmetic appearance, because of the pain, because of the things they are having due to the orthosis, then also it is contraindicated. And if they are psychological problem, then also it is contraindicated. Very young people, since they are in the growing age, we will not be able to give the orthosis because this orthosis might hinder the growth. So usually we will be giving the spinal orthosis after their adolescent age. So after their bony growth has stopped. Okay, so nearly after 18 years or above 15 to 21 years only, we will be giving this orthosis. And very old patients we don't give because sometimes when the pressure in the orthosis might be too high, that may lead to fracture. The bones will be very fragile in old people, so that may lead to fracture. So that's why we don't give for very old people. Okay, so these are the contraindications. So disadvantages, one is cosmetic appearance. Even though if we have a very modernized thing, sometimes it may not be that much good in appearance. So that is one disadvantage. Another one, it may lead to spinal muscle weakness. Then whenever the segments are immobilized, the end of the segment will have more movement. So this also is a disadvantage. For example, if you are giving cervical, the lower cervical and thoracic thing, the head might tend to move more. So these are the disadvantages. Then psychologically affected persons will become, sometimes the patient may become so dependent, like I said, like when you give a lumbar corset for the pain, they will wear it, and since it is reducing pain, they will forget about the spinal extension exercises, and they will totally depend on the LS belt itself. So this may affect in the later or future tense. They may not be able to remove at all. Then it may affect the bony density. That's why especially we don't give for younger people. Then sometimes there will be skin ulceration and scalus formation because of the orthosis interfering with the skin. Okay, so these are the common disadvantages. Then function is like it has many functions. This helps you to prevent the deformities like scoliosis and kyphosis. This helps to prevent instability and dislocation. This helps to reduce the pain. This helps to reduce the weight bearing by the spine. This helps to protect the surgical area after any fracture or anything. Okay, so uh, these are the functions of the spine. So now we will go into the spinal orthosis. These are the types of orthosis we are going to see. So first is our cervical orthosis. So cervical orthosis is given to protect the spine, cervical spine. So this will be including a simple collar, uh, which will restrict the movement or which will be partially restricting the movement. So depends on the need. If you only need to give support and inform the patient that they need to do only this much of movement, then you can use any soft materials which is not firm. That material you can use it for cervical. But when you want to totally restrict the material, then you have to use something like plastic or which is having a rigid body. You have to use this. So this can be cervical orthosis is used to restrict the neck movements, that is especially flexion extension to not really some extent, sometimes you can totally prevent also. So indications for use it when you have any crush injuries in the cervical spine, when you have whiplash injuries, when you have a hyperextension injury and you want to prevent movement, then you can use this orthosis. Then if you have any degenerative disease, then also you can use this orthosis. Okay, so in this, like we have many types. So if you see here, this is a soft cervical collar, which will not restrict your maximum movement, but it will restrict your some movement. So when you wear this, the patient will be aware that she should not do too much of flexion or she should not do too much of extension. So this kind of cervical collar, whenever you're using it for some time, and after removing also, this will be giving them a biofeedback kind. So they feel as if the collar is there. That means like psychologically you need to train the patient that they have to think that they have a collar and they have to do only that much of movement. So that is the main purpose of giving this soft cervical collar. Okay, so here you will be able to do movement, at the same time you will also be able to remove it for some time and do some exercises to maintain the muscle power. Okay, so this is like called semi-rigid collars. What happened? Somebody is sleepy and typing, or yes, you want to say anything? Okay, okay. So, like semi-rigid collars are used to prevent movement. But later, if you want to have some movement, you can loosen the Velcro straps and you can allow them some movement. So this is where whenever you have some problem, whenever you have any injury in the cervical, whenever you have fracture and other thing, you will be able, you have to wear this semi-rigid collar. This is of many types, like Philadelphia collar, which is normally used in patients in the post-surgical wards. This will be having an opening. In case if the patient is in tracheostomy, then you can use this kind of things. Okay, so this is and all like for cosmetic design. Later they have designed all this. So the main use is to restrict the neck movements and to prevent further injuries. Okay, so next is head cervical orthosis. So here in the first one, you will be restricting only the neck movement, that is cervical movement. Here along with the head, you will be restricting the neck movements also. So both head and neck will be restricted. So this is done in case of any fracture or anything. You have to totally prevent the movement, then you will be using this. So this will be having a very like it will be having two anterior and two posterior uprights with the sternal and the mandible plate. So this is the sternal plate and this is the mandible plate, where you just fix the neck in certain position and you maintain the neck in that position. You won't have any movement. So this is normally used for fracture and post-surgical. So here all the straps are given so that you maintain the thoracic posture also. Otherwise, they will go for stoop posture, which will lead to further other problems. So this same like this, they will be having a posterior support also, so that the neck is just held in neutral positions without any movement. So next is called as Minerva jacket, where it is the same thing which is used along with the jacket type. So like a jacket, you can wear it, but it is the purpose is same. This four poster one. So this is also applied to maintain the neutral position in the head and the cervical. So here also you will be having forehead straps, then rigid mandible straps. I don't have the picture. I will upload in case if I have it. So it is like a jacket which will be just covering the the thoracic region, and it will be having the anterior strap and the posterior strap with the mandibular plate, so that the head is in a neutral position. So this is also used to restrict movement in all the direction. So if they have any fracture, until the fracture is healed, you can use this kind of straps. The next is called halo orthosis. So this is again, it is an external fixator. Okay, so external fixator means you fix it. If you want to apply a traction or anything, you can apply traction and you can maintain the position for long time. But this is a very uncomfortable device. Uh, Usually we use this to reduce the fraction or reduce the dislocation. Okay, I'll show you the picture, you can see. So this is the external fixator. So this like a jacket. Minerva also will be like this only. Like a jacket, you have to wear it. So this will be fixed here, So when you screw and unscrew, it will be giving you a tractional effect. Okay, so it is an external fixator. External fixator means it will be fixed over your body from external thing. So when you have any upper cervical fracture and you want to fix the particular fracture, then you can use this. But nowadays they mostly prefer a internal fixator rather than external fixator. But in case if they have any infection, or if they have a lot of open wounds where they cannot open up the skull and do the surgery, then they will go for this external fixator to avoid infection entering inside. Okay, so major advantage of it is slowly you can give the traction and slowly you can reduce the fracture. Okay, so that is a major advantage. So for example, every 2 weeks once, or every week once, or sometimes every month once, they will be loosening this screw or tightening the screw to increase or reduce the height, or in other words you can say traction. Okay, so if you want to give traction on one side also, you can give using this. This is a very good equipment, but for the patient it is very uncomfortable one. Not only uncomfortable one, it is like very painful, and uh, it's very they have to undergo a very tedious process whenever they are wearing this. But still, this is recommended. This is the best one for preventing infection. Next is called Somi brace. So as you see, we are just coming to down, and we are covering the other spines also. So when you have cervical alone, then when you have head and neck, now a little bit it includes the thoracic also. So this Somi brace stands for sterno-occipito-mandibular immobilizer. Okay, sternal occipit mandibular immobilizer. So same like this Minerva jacket, or same like this four-poster cervical orthosis, but the little bit cosmetically designed. And this is mainly used for paraplegic patients who doesn't have neck control. Okay, so you can see in advanced wheelchairs and all, you will be having this kind of setup where they will where you can make the patient to sit and you can fix their head. So if they don't have head control, you can fix it so that they will be able to watch, do the movement. You can do all your works. They can work from home, they can use their laptop, they can do any work at their home. So if they have problem with the neck control, you can use it. Sometimes for paraplegic patients, we do use this when they definitely need to go out, or when they definitely need to have a neck control. So this restricts flexion, extension, rotation, and lateral bending of the cervical. Okay, so it has a mandibular support. It has a occipital support behind. Then it has a sternal support, so that the neck is just maintained in this particular position. So indication is whenever you have fracture of lower cervical vertebra. When you have fracture of upper cervical vertebra, you have to use the other one. This is used for lower cervical vertebra. So till the fracture is healed, you can wear this. So it can undergo uh, conservative fracture healing. Is it clear? Next is Taylor's brace, or you can also call it as thoracolumbar sacral orthosis. It's a very long from the thoracic till the sacrum, it will be giving the support. So this brace is used will have a fixator at the shoulder, and it also will have a fixator at the pelvis, and it prevents all the movements in the spine. Starting from thoracic till the sacrum, it will be preventing the movement in the spine. If they have pot spine, you know what is pot spine? Tuberculosis.
Okay, that is called spot spine. So when the tuberculosis is affecting spine, the spine will become very lesser density. So to prevent fracture, you give this spot spine. You give this particular brace to avoid movement and to prevent any fracture. And if they have any fracture also, you can use this particular orthosis. Okay. So here, if you see, there will be a pelvic band, then there will be a interscapular band. So here you can see a pelvic band and it will be having a interscapular band. So the body is maintained in a neutral position. Okay, so this band will prevent flexion or kyphosis. This band will prevent kyphosis. This band will prevent the hyperextension, and this will help you to maintain the complete spine in neutral position. Okay. This is another type of TLSO. It is called as Wilmington's brace. See this like different names. The concept is one, but different material and different shapes are used so that we can use it for different purpose. Okay, so this is another brace which will be covering from the thoracic to the sacrum. So completely like an extended LS belt. So completely there won't be any gap at all. It will be covering the whole spine like a tight jacket. So depends on the fracture. You can use the for tailors or you can also use this one. So this is another one which provides a complete support. This is also used for thoracolumbar sacral one. It is a jacket kind of. It is called as clamshells brace. So here also you will have support both anterior and posterior. Only difference between the previous one is it has Velcro straps in the sides so that it can get adjusted in the sides. But the indications, everything is same. Okay, so all three indication will be same. So next is like cruciform anterior spine hyperextension brace. So and next we are coming to hyperextension brace. So this is called as cash brace. This will help you to provide flexion control for the lower thoracic and lumbar region. Okay, so it is a little bit simple and a little bit like cosmetically you can wear it inside your dress and you can go outside. So this is just a fabricated one so that you will be able to wear and move out in the public. So if you see here, same kind of support is provided but in a different form. So they have provided the sternal support, then the like waist support, then you can adjust it according to your height. Sorry, according to your height and according to your body, you can adjust it. So this is the posterior aspect. So posterior aspect you will be having like this. This is the anterior support. Okay, this is the posterior view. This is the anterior view. Okay. So next is Charleston bending brace. So this is also used for the uh, same purpose, but it can be used for it is used to wear during night or in lying down position. So all the previous braces will be used so that you will be able to wear in the daytime and you will be able to walk out. This one is used to uh, correct your scoliosis, and this will be used during night down or night or doing lying down position. So this will be something like this. So both are similar brace. This is called Providence brace. Both are similar one. Only there is some difference in the materials. So you can see this is used to correct the scoliosis, and especially this is used for correcting the lateral and rotational force in the spine. And especially this is used during lying down position in the night time. Okay, so both of this brace are used for scoliosis, correcting scoliosis in night time. Next is Boston's brace. So this is this is also used for scoliosis. So this is called Boston's brace. This is also used to scoliosis. So this you can it's a cosmetically designed one. You can use it in the daytime. When after a surgery or after a corrective surgery, you can use this to prevent other problems, or to maintain the surgical correction you can use this. Okay, so this one you can also use to treat spondylolisthesis, and this is also used to treat severe trunk weakness. So when they have severe trunk weakness, you can give this for paralyzed person, and you can make them to sit, or you can make them to sit or stand according to the other muscles muscle strength. So this one also is used for scoliosis. So you can see this is like cosmetically designed. So you can wear this even outside your dress. So it looks like a external jacket. Okay, so this is like cosmetically designed one. Next one is Jewett orthosis. This is so all the previous are used for scoliosis. So this is all used for spinal fracture. So this is also used for spinal fracture. From this one, you are using it for scoliosis. Okay, from Charleston, you are using for scoliosis till here. Then this is Jewett's orthosis. This is used to prevent anterior hyperextension. Okay, so this is like a rectangular one. So to prevent hyperextension, you can use this kind. So if you see here, this is also used like 3-point scale. You will have, this is 2-point correction force. This is the anterior one to correct your this is the corrective force. This is the counterbalancing force. Is that clear? So this will help you to prevent the hyperextension. So in case of any compression fracture, you can use this. In case of any intervertebral disc prolapse or disc herniation, you can use this. This is also used for non-operative or post-operative immobilization of a spine. This will restrict flexion, extension, lateral flexion of thoracic and lumbar region. Is that clear? Next is ASH brace. This is also used to prevent hyperextension. Okay, so same 3-point principle is used, where you will give 2 corrective points and one is 2 counterbalancing point and one is a corrective points. So this the Jewett's and this one brace are used, both are used for the same purpose. Okay, I think we will stop here. Okay, we will finish off this one, single one, so that we will finish till thoracic region. Okay. Next is called as Milwaukee brace. This Milwaukee brace was designed for scoliosis. This is a very old brace that was used for scoliosis. Nowadays, all the previous one and all is advanced scoliosis brace. This one is the very old one. This is used, sometimes this is used instead of surgery also. So that means first they will be using this Milwaukee brace. If they are not able to correct using this Milwaukee brace, then only they will be deciding for surgery. Okay, so this will be giving both transverse and longitudinal force, so that it is correcting both the curvatures, both the concave and the convex curvature will be treated using this Milwaukee brace. Okay, so this is a very this will be having a flattened abdomen and the pelvic belt. This will help you to prevent the pelvic thing. Okay, so you will be having a flat belt, and you will be having a anteriorly you will be having a flat abdominal belt, and posteriorly you will be having a lumbar belt. So this will prevent the lumbar tilt. Okay, this will that means like this will help you to this will help you to decrease the lumbar lordosis and help you to do lot of pelvic movement, so that you are able to correct the correct the spine above that. So when you're not able to do pelvic movement, then the pelvis also will be moving along with the lumbar region, and it will be increasing the curvature. So to avoid that, you have a flat abdomen and the lumbar belt, so that it will hold the lumbar region and the pelvis will be free to move, so that you can move freely and correct the pelvic region. Okay, so I'll show you with a picture, then you will understand very easily. So if you see here, this is the anterior flat abdominal belt. This is the posterior side. So when you fix this, automatically the pelvis will be free to move. So it will not move along with your lumbar curve. It will be remaining separately, and you will be able to do the movement. Exactly, as is the first one. And second one, if you see, you will be having the anterior chin support, so that the spine is hold in the neutral position. It will not have the curvature at all. Exactly, it will not have the curvature. The spine will be just maintained in the erect position. So this is height adjustable. According to the secondary curve in the thoracic, you have to wear it. If you have on the right side, you have to wear it in the right side. If you have on the left side, you have to wear it on the left side. According to the curvature, you can move this particular band, and you can hold the spine in the neutral. So nothing but you have a central rod. Along with that, the adjustive straps, the adjustive straps need to be hold tightly along with the center one, so that the spine is maintained in the neutral position. This is a very, very difficult brace which was used previously for correcting the scoliosis, but it is a very effective one. So especially you can use this for growing girls, growing kids, because you cannot do surgery. So till that, if you wear this, it will help you to maintain the scoliosis and reduce the scoliosis. Is that clear? But the only thing is it is very less cosmetic appearance. But this, like personally, I have used this particular brace for a lot of scoliosis patients, and it has given a very good effect. Okay, so I will stop here. You can go, I will upload the slides by afternoon, because again I have class and other meetings. So after that I will upload the slides. You can go through, and if you have any doubt, you can discuss. See, I don't want to just talk as if talking to a wall. So we should have interactive classes. So you stop me, you ask me questions, and uh, then only it will be more interactive. Okay, so once I complete one particular chapter, then we will have a kind of quiz or something like that, so that both of us are equally participating. Okay. Okay, thank you all.